What you're going to hear about today is nothing short of a miracle. It's dramatically new. Material has been described as an illustrated, detailed course in horror.
Seth here from Planet Radio 106.7, your host of the Louisiana Loud Hour, hanging out with the gentleman from Vermilion Whiskey. How's it going, guys?
What's happening? Hanging.
We're at the Chris Logan Media Studios here.
Does my voice sound sexy?
Yes, it actually does. It always does. I prefer TJ's over yours.
Yeah,
but
I don't sing. You don't want that.
That's why he's the singer.
Intimate setting here.
Here at Chris Logan Media Studios in Church Point, Louisiana. And like I said, hanging out with the guys from Vermilion Whiskey.
We had the point player.
Church print.
Just doing the thing, right?
Eating fried ribs in the Bougie Express, going to Chris Logan's over there.
You guys had the Get Down last weekend out at Feed and Seed. And beautiful night. I mean, the weather held up for us to actually.
It was
Keyall ball.
That's how you sum that up.
It was characteristic of a Louisiana spring day. You weren't sure if it was going to rain or not, but it all held out, and everybody got to get their belly full of boiled crawfish and a lot of good music.
Damn good bowl of crawfish.
Oh yeah! Shout out to my boy Jed and Eunice.
Yeah.
Hooking up them crawfish. I see you back on the rig, boy.
He showed up with a LSU shirt and said he was from Eunice. I was like, we all right.
Two other people said the same thing.
Yep.
It was like, man, I was worried about this crawfish, but that old boy from Eunice, that LSU shirt, check him out.
Heard him talking about being offshore. It was like, oh, yeah, that crawfish would be good.
That's where I met him. I worked with him offshore on the rig.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Good deal.
It was a great show, man. I mean, there was a lot of faces that were absent in the crowd that we thought would have been there, but I mean, you know how it is. It happens.
Well, yeah, but still, nonetheless, it was a great show. If they missed it, they should have been there.
Shout out to all the people that came. You're going to be in the music video for our new track called The Get Down. Yeah. That's what it was all about. We got the crawfish ball. We rocked out, man.
Yeah, and, Four Mag Nitrous, Cheetah Pipe, and Electric Age all doing their thing as well on that show.
Oh, them boys. If y'all don't know who Cheetah Pipe, Four Mag Nitrous, or Electric Age, you messing up, man.
Get on that. Get some of that Cheetah Pipe in your life.
Oh, yeah. They from the Lafayette.
They're from where I'm from. They're from that Bro Bridge.
Oh, yeah.
So
don't mess around with that.
Exactly. So we talked a little bit about, at the beginning of the show, Planet Radio, obviously, and you guys have been,
we all from Acadiana.
Fans.
People that don't know Planet
boys.
Radio, we grew up on Planet Radio. It came out, I was probably in, 6th grade. Maybe I was in junior high. I don't know, but I had the Planet Radio T-shirt.
Elementary, middle school.
Right, that's all of us started. Heard Silverchair. I was talking to the guys. That's when I first heard 311.
Right.
All this stuff back then. And I remember the first concert they had was at UL on campus. Mm-hmm. I was there. It's probably one of the first concerts I went to, actually.
My first concert was Wayne Tubes. Pretty sure.
Before
so those that don't know.
Before Planet Radio was Planet Radio, it was Wayne Radio. So I'm just saying.
Was it?
Jackal at the Cajun Noon.
Nice.
So those that don't know, Planet Radio went away.
Yeah.
And I forget what year, and it just was a classic rock then.
Don't make me cry, Ross.
I know. But Planet Radio is back, man.
Hey, it's back, baby.
Back on the airwaves, online.
I stayed with the radio on when I slept.
Oh, yeah.
As a teenager.
And I was jamming on my way to New Liberia to get my hair cut the other day.
It was always Planet Radio.
And I was jamming to some Weezer on Planet Radio. Man, you should have heard me sing. Actually, you probably shouldn't have heard it.
I heard Korn and Limp Bizkit practically back to back last night. It was like, okay.
So shout out to Planet Radio for letting us come use their studio and
thank you guys.
Shoot this podcast.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm thankful that you guys wanted to have me a part of this and do this podcast because I think it's just really cool. This is something that a lot of bands don't necessarily take the advantage of, and kind of gets the introspective look about the album before it's released. Obviously, the Get Down was the local release, and the album comes out a little bit later on, and you guys are going to be out in Texas, correct, for when it actually releases?
Yep. So Crimson and Stone comes out May 26th. We're going to be in Houston with our partners over there. Shout out to
Black
our
Magic
boys.
Social Club.
Yeah. Shout out to our boys in Choke and Mr. Plow. Oh, yeah. We're going to throw down. And then we're throwing down in Austin. Anyway, anytime we can get back to Texas, that's what we try to do.
Yeah. And the the Texas experience is really unique. I mean, we all have our love and our appreciation for our local scene here, but Texas is a little bit of a different animal when it comes to how they respond to.
You know how we roll down
music.
here, but we always
So-
pass a good time in Texas too, man. Oh,
Yeah.
They love
Texas
us out
is-
there. We got a lot of good friends out there, good people out there in Texas.
Texas has been real good to us through the years. So it's so big. They got a great scene over there. So
Yep.
we try to get back every time we can. And they like to party with these Cajun boys.
And those same people that we messed with, back in the day when we were, I say back in the day, years ago when we were first going out that way, they're still messing with us.
Right,
For
yeah.
good reason, And whenever we had a hiatus and all that, we came back and they're still, hey, we want y'all like nothing ever happened.
Yeah, and you mentioned the hiatus. This is the third album from Vermilion Whiskey. Crimson and Stone is the third record, and
Each one gets better.
I was about to say they just keep getting bigger, like thicker, better. Just the sound. Ross, how do you come up with the tone that you get from all of this? Because
We ain't
like,
got time for that.
yeah, that is true. But
Yeah.
I mean, the tonality from one album to the next has just become bigger and bigger. So
I'd say definitely Orange Amps. That's always the big one. Shout out to Orange.
Yeah.
Hook a brother up.
Reverend Guitars.
Yeah, I sponsor y'all. And then I am the Reverend Brown.
right.
I'm so stoked to be playing Reverend guitars. I got the cap on.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, I love my Reverends.
He's wearing Reverend draws right now. You can't see it, but
You can't see him, but
Great U.S. company. I love the guys at Reverend. They've been so great. So just between them and their pickups and oranges. I mean, I might have a crazy pedal board, but honestly, it's just orange.
yes, Pete.
It's just orange and Reverend guitars, man.
Good deal. All right. Well, TJ, on this album, you vocally, I think also kind of experienced a little bit more of a dynamic range compared to the other two.
Yeah, it's
What'd
changed a
you-
little bit.
What'd you decide to do with Crimson and Stone over the last one? I mean, was that part of the recording process and going in and
Well, all the songs are, aside from one of them, is I'm playing guitar.
right? Yeah.
I stepped up to the plate and we need a guitar player. I started playing guitar, fell into doing vocals, and I've helped write riffs for some of the other albums too. And it's good to actually be able to play them and sing them.
Right.
So it changed a little bit, dynamic change as far as because playing and singing versus just singing is a whole different ballgame.
Right. Yeah.
Not necessarily better, not necessarily worse, just different. And I try to do it justice, not fall off, not.
Well, you've
do
always
worse,
had
but-
you've always had a commanding stage presence beforehand, and I think with the guitar, everything like this band now with everybody, like the unit that you've all become has all fallen into. And I know there was some uncertainty at one point of whether or not this album was even going to be made.
Yeah, and this is where it needs to be. I feel like this is,
And all the-
we all feel like this is the lineup we're meant to have.
Yeah, I was going to say all the pieces fell into place. Like
Definitely.
I know Ross talking to you a little bit about, like I said, the uncertainty of this album and if it was going to be made or not.
Yeah, it was
you
all
were on a
looking-
hunt. You were looking for members, and
Yeah, well, let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
It's been a journey, to say the least. So our last album, Spirit of Tradition, was released in 2017. And then 2018, we played like one of the best shows we ever played.
Biggest show of our career as far as a band.
With Crowbar.
Right.
Shout out to the guys in Crowbar for having our backs. We played a show with them at Southport for their
20th anniversary of the Oddfellows Rest album.
Yeah, at Southport, I don't know,
Amazing.
600-700 people, man. It was just, I get goosebumps thinking about it.
yeah,
You hear that, you go to a show and like, I never experienced it as a musician on stage, where you're getting on stage and like the venue's pretty quiet, everybody's talking, and then, my bad, like everything's loud, everybody's
That
talking.
chatter, yeah,
and
that
everything
chatter.
kind of like simmers down, and it's like, get the energy in the room just come when we get on stage.
We definitely had the
just,
flea songs. It was
Oh, ball, it was crazy.
big time.
yeah.
Anyway, so we played that show, and then it wasn't shortly after that we had some drama in the band, which
I got off stage and cried after that show. I went in the back and cried. I swear.
I mean, it's an experience. I
Yeah.
mean,
It was cool. But yeah, we had
there was a lot of drama within the band, which anybody who's been in the band knows it's it's a brotherhood.
Right,
Sometimes
yeah.
you don't agree on
marriage.
stuff, so things ended up hitting the fan, and our drummer left, Our bass player quit the same day, and then not shortly after, our guitar player Carl, who's been with the band since the very beginning, he decided to bow out to pursue other things in life. So that's cool, you know. And then it was, you know, soul searching. Do we want to keep this going? It was just me and TJ left, you know, left in the band, and then actually like through all the drama me and TJ have been through in the years, like just butting heads. It's funny that me and him stuck it through to the end.
And honestly, full disclosure, dude, part of the reason why those guys left supposedly was because me and Ross were arguing so much back and forth, butting heads.
Well,
we're the only two left. It's
the like you talked about, the brotherhood, the brethren, like brothers don't always get along, and
because
so
we're the most passionate about the whole damn thing.
Yeah, and I was about to say, you guys both have taken hold of this project, Vermilion Whiskey itself, and just
into it,
and
dude.
Put everything into it. So
I took like a year off, just like needed a break.
Don't touch me.
You know, like just trying to think of what I wanted to do, and then ultimately like, I'm gonna write music. It's what I do. Like anytime I pick up the guitar, I write music. It's just me.
Right.
We worked really hard to get where we were. We built a brand and a name for ourselves. We still had thousands of dollars worth of merchandise. What are you gonna do? Just throw it away?
Yeah,
Right.
So I remember the day I went to TJ's house. I sat down on the couch. We talked about it. Say, hey, are we doing this? Like, let's decide right now. Line in the sand. Are we doing this?
All in, bro.
And we said we're doing it. So, hey, we started writing a record. We didn't have a drummer. So that was difficult. You know, we went through a few guys around town. We just couldn't find the right person,
Right.
who had the right groove we wanted. And then in that time, we found Mr. Jason Deku on the bass.
The Dragon Claw.
Oh man, I love this guy.
Jason, how did you end up? How did you end up just coming into the fold? And what was your first experience with these two? Like you said, like they mentioned already that they were kind of button heads.
Hunt,
Yeah. So
Well, I've known these guys just from playing with them in other bands over the years.
Right.
Yeah.
Like my previous project's first show, I think, was his first show.
Yeah, I was in the
Artemis.
Yeah, I was in a band called Artemis, a death metal band. We played at Sadie's.
And I was in a
Okay.
band called Really Really.
Okay,
that-
I remember that
shows
band.
together, and that's
Right.
when I
So
first
we
met him.
we played with VW.
Back at Bisbanos.
At-
Shout
back
out to
in
Bisbanos.
Yeah, man.
R.I.P. Bisbanos.
So I've always been a fan. It was like, no lie, the one band that sticks out in the mind the most that I've played shows with over the years,
Right.
that I was always like, man, I wish I was the bass player. They have so much fun, you know, like I could really hear.
the energy resonated with you.
But I was busy, you know, committed to that project, and just the stars lined up to where one thing stopped being my project, and I took some time off, and then eventually Ross hit me up a couple times. You know, I'd see him out in the wild at a show, and I was like,
He already had my
I
vote.
don't know.
I was like, oh yeah, he'd be perfect.
Started going to the Boom Boom Room for the jam nights,
Right.
and started jamming with TJ on guitar, and
Oh yeah.
eventually he twisted my arm the right way. And,
He heard them riffs, boy. He knew it was
yeah.
up.
Little did I know he was jamming one of our tracks, Dissonance, I think.
Yeah.
And, you know, just feeling it out, you know, and I guess that was the tryout.
He was like,
Okay.
oh yeah, dude.
And because it was kind of funny because I show up to practice and it was like, whoa, I know this one.
Sounds familiar. I thought it was just off the cuff with this.
So you brought something up that totally is kind of spontaneous here, but I want to talk about the importance of like those jam sessions that we have communally here, like with Stoner Rock Jam on Wednesday nights at Freetown Boom Boom Room. How important is that for the community to actually have? Like, is it that melting pot that really kind of makes bands come together?
There have been bands formed out of that.
Yeah,
Whole
I know there
scenarios.
is. So,
You know,
Sex Lord.
Yep.
Sex Lord,
right? Yeah.
It's about the riff, man.
Nick Harvey and them boys. You know.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That's,
Rest in peace, Old English.
Yeah.
It
Rest in
definitely
peace, OE.
it's a good way to not only keep your chops up, but to get people the opportunity who don't have this gear at home because they provide the backline. You don't have to get a
Gotcha.
guitar, you just got to show up.
Yeah.
And if anybody plays drums and wants to show up on Wednesday night, we'd love to.
And that's the
have
best
you,
thing
'cause
too.
that's-
Younger cats
Yeah.
that don't have all that stuff,
Right.
You know, and that's we've seen a lot more of that. Younger guys who want to jam out, who don't don't have those resources or a place to get loud,
Right.
You know, or a place to have a full PA and everything else. I mean, you could come and play on Or Jams.
I mean, it's kind of like a singles bar for musicians.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just here to hook up. Let's.
I mean, it's a little different than it used to be. It's changed
Right.
a little bit, you know, and it's hit or miss. Sometimes people show up, sometimes people don't. You know?
Right.
but it's still there.
Right.
It's not going anywhere. It's a good tool to use to be able to just
See what happens.
yeah. And man, it's really awesome just to be able to jam with different people every once in a while. You know.
Yeah.
Nothing against these guys or anything. Like it's just good to just get a fresh perspective and jam with other people and play something a little different. And it's not necessarily just stoner music either. We're going to play a little thrash metal or something here and there and just different stuff.
Good, yeah. So, switching back to the actual band itself, you had an experience where, and Ross, me and you and I had conversations about what your ideas and your kind of like perspective as to what you wanted to do to record Crimson and Stone and trying to recruit a new drummer.
Yeah, the drummer was hard to find. We played with a lot of people, and we just couldn't find somebody that had that groove, man. Because this, our music is just
the dedication.
all about groove.
Which Wade's holding it down for you guys big time.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Shout out to Wade.
Man.
yeah,
But he came later.
right.
So when it came time to find a drummer, I told TJ this from the start. I was like, hey, let's get Tommy Buckley or Crowbar in this. And he was like,
You think he'll do it? Like, hey, we could give it a shot. Ask him. You know?
Right.
And we kept
All you
trying out
couldn't hurt.
people, and it was just brutal trying to write a record without a drummer, for one. Because it's all about groove. How you going to write without it? So a lot of it was really tough to do. So we hit up our buddy Patrick Mushmesh. That's how you say his name, right?
Usamish.
Yeah, PM Star Promotions. He does all of our merch. He is
For somebody,
the man.
I'm going to say this right now about Pat. For somebody from New Iberia, he has one of the hardest last names to say in this area. So,
But he's in real tight with
Yeah.
Crowbar. He
Yeah.
does a lot of their merch. A lot of the people in the
Crowbar,
scene.
Goat
So,
Whore,
I knew Tommy. We
bunch
had
of
met a
bands.
few times. He's been to some VW shows. We've kind of bumped elbows in the scene.
We opened for them, for
That's
that
true.
show. And
We
it was
opened
great.
for him. So, Patrick hit him up personally. He got his number, and then he's old school, right? So we mailed him a CD. Right, that's what Tommy does. He has a Walkman.
He's
puts
got
on his
several
headphone.
Walkmans.
He's got several Walkmans.
In the
you
plastic,
have a Walkman for
brand
sale,
new. If one
you'll
busts,
probably buy it.
he's got another one on deck, ready to rock.
So we sent him like a demo.
that's great.
We sent him a demo with like some live recordings with some different drummers we had rehearsed with, and so just sent him the record, and then it wouldn't take long. He hit us back, and he was real excited to. He saw the promise in the songs, you
Right.
know. So that was real exciting. Talking to him on the phone, which is always interesting. Talking to Tommy on the phone. If I call Tommy, I better have an hour to talk.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tommy. We love you, man.
Yeah.
And so we scheduled our first rehearsal, which was in Crowbar's rehearsal studio, which is attached to OCD Studios, where we recorded the record. Shout out to Dwayne at OCD Studios,
Crowbar,
man.
a few other bands
And-
rehearsing there, man. It was
Yeah,
a cool
so,
spot.
So we showed up and jammed the first time, and then Tommy, he did his homework. He just listened to the record on his Walkman. We showed in, we plugged in the amps. We just played the record.
Right.
We didn't stop. There was no, how does this part go? The dude just played it.
Dude, just front to back, it made me feel like I hadn't practiced enough. To be honest, I was like, wow, okay.
Absolutely.
Like within like half a bar, I was like, okay, this is real.
This is really happening
Yeah, this
right
is
now.
A game right here. It was.
He has so much
refreshing.
He's a total pro.
So much power and just
All
power
about
and precision
groove, man. Groove.
and groove all day.
I never had played with a drummer that had that groove, you know. No offense to other guys, but I mean, Tommy Buckley is a legend.
Tommy is a legend, and
Solent fucking green.
yeah, and the fact
all I'm
that
gonna say about that.
yeah, and the fact that you were able to just kind of, I mean, I remember whenever you told me, you were like, "Hey, so I'm gonna try to get Tommy Buckley to play on this album," and I was like, "Yeah, good luck." I was like, "Okay," I was like, "All right, we'll see if it happens." And it wasn't that I didn't believe you; it was just I knew that was a tall mountain to climb because of how.
Well, he doesn't do that.
I was about to say how reserved
he
Tommy
doesn't.
is when
Yeah.
it comes to what he likes to do.
And I think a lot of that had to do with Patrick, like vouching for us.
Right.
And, you know, he knew who we were.
Yeah, he's heard us before. He's seen us before. He knows how we roll. He knows the kind of people we are. And so
Like,
it just
out
kind of
of-
made it easy for him.
Out of more than any of that, it was the music.
Yeah.
That's what speaks for itself. When he heard the music, that's what
I mean,
got
there's
him.
paid
in.
gigs, you know, and
Right.
what I'm saying, but it was genuinely more than that for him, you know.
Yeah,
And it's
he
great.
he heard something that was very promising in the album, and he jumped on
Stoked
it.
to be a part of it, genuinely.
So
I mean,
something-
he's wearing the T-shirt rocking that shit with pride, dude, everywhere, and it's awesome.
Something that's
That's
coming
excellent.
out for our fans and stuff is I recorded all those practice sessions with Tommy. Like, so we went to New Orleans 4 times and rehearsed with him, and I got all that on camera. So it's really
All
cool to
behind
see
the
like
scenes.
the record come together, like all the flubs and all the whatever
Right.
to prep up to the studio. So like we rehearsed 4 times with Tommy. Just on a Saturday afternoon, whatever. We just drove, down 90, down the swamp
Got some
over
giant
there.
pizza.
Oh,
Those pizzas look delicious.
Fat
shout out to
Boys
Fat Boys Pizza
Pizza.
in New Orleans.
Those little videos.
30-inch
that
pizza, son.
Couldn't even fit through
30
the door.
inches.
30 inches. That's a 15-inch slice, player.
Man.
Barely fit through the door. It's like they said, okay, the door jam is this big.
They had 2 women take that thing out of the back of an SUV to bring it to the door.
That sounds like something else. Like sounds like an episode of something else you were filming. But anyways,
Only
So we got
only
those
on my
videos
time off.
coming.
oh, okay, fair enough.
That was cool, and then we booked the studio.
Yeah, and so you guys recorded.